Hello, my name is Daniel, and I'm here to help you settle into an English-speaking country. Today I'll be talking about one of the most important aspects of English, which is consistent speaking practice. This video is broken down into 3 parts, with a really quick and easy exercise at the end that will make sure your English is improving every day. Number 1. Consistently practicing our speaking gives us confidence. When we do something over and over, we gain a lot of confidence because we know we've done that so many times before. We don't even need to think about whether or not we can do it. We just instinctively know that we can. Let me give you an example. If I decided I wanted to try something new like bake a wedding cake, I would try. I've baked a cake before, but I wouldn't have much confidence because I haven't made a wedding cake. I know there's a lot of complexities involved. You know, you've got to stack them all up. It looks kind of hard, and maybe I would get it done, but it will be slow, it will be very difficult, and I don't think I would be able to present something that I'd be truly proud of. Let's compare that to a professional wedding baker. He has baked so many wedding cakes in his life, thousands, and he's very confident. He has a long history of doing something well, and he's able to draw on that confidence to do a great job. He'll be faster, he'll be more efficient, and the end product will be better. When he makes a wedding cake, he's not going to second guess himself, whereas I probably would. If we practice something enough, if we've had enough experience doing that thing, then we will gain confidence. And when you're out in public, the last thing you want is to lose your confidence. Because as we know, as confidence drops, so does our ability to speak. On to the second thing that consistent speaking practice gives us, and that is a time to make mistakes. When we're learning a new language, it can be very daunting to go out in public and try and talk with people in their native language. I'm currently living in a Spanish-speaking country. I know exactly what it feels like. You go to a public place, you meet your friends. It's really quite difficult. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to embarrass yourself. Rather make those mistakes at home. If we are practicing at home on a regular basis, we can make all of those mistakes here where it's safe, where no one can hear us. And it would be much better to make your mistakes in front of your cat than in front of your boss. The third thing that regular speaking practice is going to give us is memory retention. In 1880, a man called Hermann Ebbinghaus conducted a study. He was looking at memory retention and why we forget things. On the x-axis, we have time. On the y-axis, we have information retained. Now, when we hear information for the first time, the rate at which we forget is very fast. You can see the curve drops very quickly down to the bottom. We lose about 50% of the information within the first hour and 70% within the first 24 hours. There is hope though. What happens when we remind ourselves of this information again is that we remember almost 100%. And the rate at which we forget has been slowed. You can see the curve is not quite as steep. If we keep reminding ourselves of this information every time, the rate at which we forget continues to slow. Until eventually, if we've reminded ourselves enough, the rate at which it drops is almost nothing, and we remember that information for a very long time. Now, before we get to the actual exercise, I want to explain why you will be 37.78 times better at speaking English if you practice every day. This was no clickbait, this is real data. If you do something every single day, and you improve by 1% every time, this has a compounding effect. It's called the 1% rule. If we increase every day by 1%, by the end of 12 months, we will be 37 times better than we were at the beginning of the year. This does not happen immediately. If we're doing 1% every day, it's going to feel very slow, like we're not getting any progress. But if we stick at it, there will be a point where all of a sudden, everything starts to just click and fall into place. And that is when we really start to improve. 1% every day does give us 37 times better results. Here is the exercise. We talk to ourselves for 5 minutes. And that's it. Let me explain why it works so well. We need to practice the exact thing that we want to improve on. For example, if I wanted to be a sprinter, I'm not going to practice walking. If I wanted to be a BMX rider, I'm not going to practice on a unicycle. Practicing on a unicycle, they may benefit us somewhat, but they are not going to benefit us the way we want. In the same way, with our English, if we want to speak well, we need to practice speaking. Writing, reading, even thinking in English, even though they are helpful for our overall English level, they are not going to really help us with our speaking ability. It's almost like there's a blockage between your brain and your mouth, and you just can't get the words out. To practice speaking, actively speaking, it unblocks that, and it allows you to really communicate clearly. To increase our speaking ability, we really need to speak a lot. This 5-minute exercise is designed to help us just take it in little pieces throughout our busy day. We set a timer for 5 minutes on our phone, on our watch. We can even just look at the clock. We choose one topic and we speak to ourselves until the timer is finished. Obviously, the more that we can do this during the day, the more we're going to increase our ability to speak. You might do 5 minutes in the morning in the shower. Just talk about your day. You could do 5 minutes while you're making a coffee, 5 minutes while you're driving to work, 5 minutes walking the dog. There are many possibilities during the day where we've got 5 minutes kind of free. Not necessarily completely free, but while you're doing something else. Stick some 5 minutes in there and you'll notice a big difference. Here's a quick summary of what we've covered in the video. Consistency is one of the most important aspects of learning to speak. We must split this into 5-minute intervals in order to get the time we spend speaking at a good level. Speaking a lot will give us a higher level of confidence. It will give you an opportunity to make your mistakes at home and not out in public. It will significantly increase the amount of English you are retaining in your memory, and you will have 37 times the English speaking ability than you would have if you were doing nothing. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, stick it in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.